Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Angel and today I'll be sharing some more fun and simple DIYs. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and click that little notification bell so that you won't miss out on any of my future videos. For this first project, Dollar Tree has out these palm leaves right now, and I just want to go ahead and remove those palm leaves from the wood piece, and luckily they just pop right out, and we're just going to be using the little wood pieces, and I'll put those palm leaves away for a future project. Now, because I am obsessed with everything wood right now, I want to go ahead and turn these little black wood pieces back to a natural wood color. So I'm going to do 2 coats of white chalk paint on both of these. And then I'm just going to take some of my antique Waverly wax with a baby wipe, and I'm going to go ahead and do 2 coats of that on top of these. And that's going to give this a natural wood look. Now, I decided I wanted to do some wire fall leaves, so I went ahead and drew out some fall leaves. Now, you can print these off, draw them yourself, but I'm just going to use those as a guide, and I'm also going to be using some of this gold floral wire from Dollar Tree. Now, the first thing I did was just go ahead and unwind that some and just straighten that wire out, and then I'm just going to be making the top shape of that leaf with my wire, and I'm going to take some tape and tape it down. Then all I had to do was just start shaping that wire around my leaf pattern that I have, and it does take a little bit of work and a little bit of maneuver with the wire, but you're just going to move your fingers down as you're shaping it, and it's actually really easy. Now, I did do the other one off camera, but it was also kind of easy. That one was a little bit more tricky, and I did have to use some pliers to kind of help me shape the wire for that one. But once you're done with the first side, you're going to go ahead and do the other side exactly the same. And once you get to the bottom, you're just going to go ahead and take those 2 pieces of wire and twist them together to close your leaf. Then you'll just go ahead and cut off the excess from that one side so that you just have one of the wires hanging down. And if you need to, you can take some pliers and kind of squeeze that together to close it. And the final step is just adding that middle wire, and all you have to do is just twist that around the top and the bottom and then cut off the excess. Then you can just stick those wires down into those little wood blocks that we painted, and here's how they turned out. For this next project, we'll just be using some of this metal ribbon from Dollar Tree, and I only needed 1 roll for this project. So I went ahead and I cut 4 even strips, and that almost used the complete roll. Now, because I didn't want my metal to be silver, I did go ahead and mix up some antique gold paint with some of my antique copper metallic paint, and I'm just going to go ahead and give that 1 light coat on each side of this metal ribbon. As always though, this is totally optional. Once those were dry, I'm just going to put this together using a drawer knob from a piece of furniture that I no longer have anymore. But you can definitely pick these up at Home Depot or Lowe's, and sometimes Dollar Tree does carry drawer knobs. I'm just going to start by removing that screw because that's what we're going to use to put this little pumpkin lantern together. Now, I did have to go in and make some little cuts so that my screw would fit up in there. But I'm just going to start by putting the screw through 2 of those, and then I'm going to add on the other 2. Then I just had to screw on the knob to finish off the top of this. For the bottom part, I'm just going to take some of Dollar Tree's gel super glue and glue the two sides together that go together, if that makes sense. And I'm just going to use some Dollar Tree clamps to clamp that down and let that dry on both sides. And then I will glue those together. Now, I wanted to make this a kind of pumpkin candle holder, so I am using this little trinket tray that I got from the thrift store, and then I just added in a Dollar Tree candle. For this next project, you're going to need a Dollar Tree vase or jar or anything like that that you want to use. I'm just using this hurricane vase, and also you'll need some of Dollar Tree's faux leather. Now, the first thing I did was just go ahead and cut that down to fit around my vase. Now, as you can see, it didn't quite fit all the way around my vase, but that's okay because I'm just going to go ahead and do like a corset stitch at the end. Now, I'm going to be using some of these little wood cutouts from Dollar Tree just so that I can have a guide to draw some leaves for this project. You can use a stencil or hand draw them, it's up to you, but I'm just going to flip that leather over and use a Sharpie to mark those out. Then you'll just need some white thread and some needles for this project as well. You can pick up a sewing kit at Dollar Tree too. Now, I am not the best at sewing, and I know this might seem a little complicated, but stay with me. You're just going to poke your needle through the back where you have your guide drawn out, turn it over to the front, and wherever your stitch is, you are going to put your needle back through where that stitch ends. Essentially, all we are doing is what is called a back stitch. It is super easy once you get the hang of it. All you really have to remember is that at every point or curve is where you want to put your stitch. So as you can imagine, the rounder leaves are much easier to do, and I think this took me around 45 minutes to an hour to complete. And don't worry how the back looks, it's gonna look not correct, but you'll see that the front turns out to be the leaf shape. So once again, you'll see here at the back, I'm going right in on that point. And again, you want to do every point and curve. And that's really all you have to worry about. You just push the needle through on those points and those curves. And then once you get to the front side, again, you're just going to go right back into your previous stitch at the end of that stitch and push your needle back through to the back. And here is what it should look like when you are finished. Again, mine's not perfect, but that's okay. Then I'm just going to cut that off, and I just tied a regular knot to finish it. Then you're just going to continue and do the rest of them. Once you complete them, then you're going to want to go ahead and do the veins of the leaf, and this is just a basic in and out. You're just going to have to try to guesstimate where you're going to put the thread, and as you can see, again, mine's not perfect. I didn't do all of the veins that I had drawn out. I just kind of went with it and put them where I thought I would want them. And here's what it looked like when I was all finished. Now, if you remember at the beginning, this didn't quite fit around my vase. So here I am going to go ahead and use this little hole tool from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to make 5 holes so I can put some string through there to close this. Then I'm just going to use some of this Dollar Tree cotton cord, and I am going to just put some tape on the end so that it makes it easier to get it through the holes. Then all I had to do was just go ahead and lace this up. And at the top and the bottom, I just finished this off by tying a knot. And here is how it turned out. For this final project, you're just going to need one of Dollar Tree's pieces of wood, or you could just use a frame for this project as well. This is an 18-inch piece of wood, and I went ahead and cut it in half and then stained it. Now I wanted to do a fall watercolor, so of course you'll need some water. I just have some watered down acrylic paints, and then I just cut out these leaf shapes from just plain printer paper. You can print them off, draw them, and cut them out. It's up to you. But all you're gonna do is just go ahead and start painting those leaves with your watercolors, and you can mix this any way you want. Just make sure that they're very saturated. Now once you have the colors mixed the way you want, you're very carefully going to pick that up and press it onto your other paper. Now I'm just using a piece of cardstock, but you could of course use a Dollar Tree canvas, which I think would probably work a lot better. But once you press that down, you're going to lift it up and it's going to leave this watercolor impression on your paper, and then you're just going to continue and do that with the rest of your leaves. This technique is great for giving the impression that you did a faded fall watercolor without actually having to try to do the watercolor correctly, and I just thought that this made it look really nice. And you can see here, if your watercolor doesn't come out totally, you can just put some more paint on it and press it again. Now once it was dry, I'm just taking this fine point Sharpie and I'm gonna kind of do the perimeter. I'm not really staying in the lines of the watercolor, but I think that gives this just a little bit of interest, and I think it turned out really neat. I'm also going to go in and give these leaves some of the veins that they usually have. And then I'm also just going to add in a few little plants around this, just because I thought that it needed a little something more to go with it. But that is totally optional. And then to finish this off, I just hot glued those wood pieces to the top and the bottom to make this look kind of like a scroll. But again, you could just do this with a frame or a Dollar Tree canvas, but this is how it turned out. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.